Hi YouTube, this is my reaction to goals team of the decade. I mean, like, Jesus Christ. Things I don't agree with, I will pause and say something else different, but that's it for now. Oh, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know, it's very small. I'm trying to build a bigger YouTube channel soon. So, anyways, let's watch this video. I mean, like,
World Cup 2014 revolutionised the position of goalkeeper really under Pep Guardiola, and for me there's no doubt about it, best goalkeeper of the decade and maybe even the best goalkeeper of all time.
Interesting. Before we go any further, I want to establish criteria for this because arguably David De Gea, in terms of athleticism and presence, could be on the same page as Manuel Neuer in terms of his actual ability, perhaps, in terms of achievements and things like that. Is that where the separation is?
I think there's got to be definitely an element of that, but some players, due to the teams they've played in, haven't won as much as others, but they will still be listed in, I think the best players this decade. I think De Gea is, in my opinion, still a world-class goalkeeper, and it's between him and Neuer. I think for the last half a decade, maybe bar last season, De Gea was better than Neuer, but it's 10 years, not 5.
Just look at trophies and compare De Gea to Neuer. I think Neuer's got 7 Bundesliga titles. There's a Champions League and there's a World Cup in there. Yeah, but the best players play for the best teams. There's a reason why De Gea plays for Manchester United and not Bayern Munich.
Yeah, but Real were desperate for De Gea, and they have probably been the most European, successful.
But they clearly weren't that desperate to go all the way in and say, okay, this is all we need. They've always said, you know what, Navas will do for now. And in the end, they went for Courtois rather than De Gea. If they really wanted him, they would have gone for him.
But either way, it's a moot discussion, really. Neuer is the best keeper of this decade, isn't he?
Okay, where should we go next? Let's start with left back.
left back.
I think we're probably in for a similar group
Marcelo?
decision here. It's Marcelo for me.
I think it's Marcelo.
I think you've got Alba, you've
Marcelo.
got Alaba, but it's Marcelo.
I mean, like,
Light years ahead of the rest.
Any discussion from that? Anyone else?
Well, I think we can say...
I mean, I think about it, like, it's crazy. Like, how many better left backs are there in the world? I mean, like, over the dance again. Like, I don't remember anybody else. I don't remember Barcelona left back. Like, who? I mean, like, left back? Yeah, I mean, and that position, like, who was better than Marcelo this decade? Like, I don't remember Bayern Munich. I mean, Alexandro. You could say Alexander for Juventus, but then he didn't win as much as Marcelo. He never like. I remember Marcelo doing so much ridiculous stuff. Like when Madrid needed goals and stuff, Marcelo always did it. Like that is why he did it. I think Marcelo is supposed to be Marcelo. I think it's Marcelo. Because I don't remember any other left back like Premier League. If you think about like Premier League, how shitty left compared to the rest of Europe. Premier League's are shitty left backs and right backs. There's no special body in the Premier League, I mean, like, right. The only I mean, like, and the funny thing is the people them who coming up now is like Liverpool youngsters is who people calling the best right and left backs in the world right now. Like, that's crazy. I mean, that shit.
Alba and Alaba, they're relatively close, and you could say, well, Marcelo was a bit suspect defensively every now and then, but he added so much to the team going forward. He was a key member of the Madrid team that won 4 Champions League over the past decade, so...
Could you throw Ashley Cole into the mix?
No, I think his days were done for the bulk of this decade. After Chelsea won the Champions League, I think that was enough for Ashley Cole. Unfortunately, his peak just didn't coincide with this decade. Otherwise, you are talking about a world-class left-back there. The only other contenders that I had on my list were Jordi Alba, of course, who played so well for Barcelona throughout the decade, winning a treble as well in 2015, and also Patrice Evra, who might have slipped under the radar a little bit. Maybe some people thought maybe his best days were gone by, but he still managed a couple of titles.
Is that the same thing as Ashley Cole, perhaps? Isn't that the
Maybe, but
previous decade?
I think maybe he stayed world class a little bit longer than Cole because he was still playing. He played the Champions League final in 2015. He played in a Euros final in 2016 for France. You know, so even though he was getting on in years, he was still a huge influence in dressing rooms and a world class competitor. So, but for me, I'm happy to go with Marcelo, one of my favorite players of all time. Always there at the clutch moments for Real Madrid.
I'm a little bit upset so far. I was expecting there to be more contention.
It's early.
Exactly. Okay, we'll switch sides. We'll go to right back. Anyone want to throw a name into the mix?
Well, I'll throw out who I think is the outstanding candidate, and I think we may get uniform opinion here as well. I don't think there's any dispute over Daniel Alves being the best right back over the last 10 years. And possibly the greatest right back of all time. Just that World Cup missing from the record books for him. But for me, Daniel Alves, the most consistent right back of last 10 years and probably of the last 100 years.
Yeah, I think right backs is probably the weakest.
One of my favourite
position.
right backs of all time.
Everyone
My favourite person
of all
was
the things,
Daniel Alves.
yeah.
I remember this
When
team
you
in
look at
2014 World
the
Cup.
best right back in the Premier League, it's really difficult to
Crazy.
find an outstanding candidate. So you've got little to go from, say, even
This guy said the same thing I saying. Like the Premier League doesn't have any. I can't remember. I don't know any outstanding. For God's sakes, Tottenham right backs and left back at the time. Danny Rose and Kyle Walker was what people call the best of the Premier League. They're not on Danny Alves' level. I remember watching Danny Alves in 2014 World Cup, and I was saying like, who's this guy, man? It's like, oh my God, Danny Alves is one of the best right backs of all time. I mean, I don't know the past right backs and thing, but I think Danny Alves.
the Premier League to rival Alves, who has been superb.
I think maybe you could look at the other options that I had considered were World Cup winning captain, obviously Philip Lahm, but he, of course, across the decade, he probably got three positions, right back, left back, and defensive midfield as well. And the other name that I had on the list was Daniel Carvajal, who came back after a loan spell at Bayer Leverkusen to Real Madrid and ends up in a fundamental part of their team as well. But I don't think either of those two, I don't think anybody else is in the shake.
But he went too young. Carvajal too young.
I think for me, Joshua Kimmich is in that. But that's just for the last 5 years. So if we could say generate Bayern Munich right
Kimmich
back,
and Carvajal too young. They're too young.
Lahm and Kimmich into one.
They're too young.
Then it would have been a
still.
competition.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an unfortunate thing through this debate. Is there would be some players who've just done 5 years, either at the start or the end of the decade, that
Too young, Carvajal.
when you wrap up into the whole 10 years compared to some other players, they fall short.
I think if we look in the next decade, it may well be him. But what people remember is the image of players with trophies in their hands. When you try, garner a list of all-time greats, and Kimmich still hasn't got that huge recognisable trophy. I mean, the Bundesliga Shield is a nice trophy, but come on.
So, Dani Alves, we all happy with Dani Alves?
Daniel
Yeah.
Alves.
Yeah.
He's in.
Look at you lot all getting along. Okay, Steph?
I think the defence is one of those areas where you're generally touching on the same names, really. So moving into the centre-back position, which is what you wanted.
There's
I'll
no
go with the obvious one, Sergio Ramos.
Okay.
Spain's most capped player, 4 Champions League trophies, I think 2 La Liga titles,
Always
World Cup winner, European.
This gonna be. I think this gonna be like super Spanish focus on it. Like, I get it in it. Like, Barcelona and Real Madrid have over the last 10 years. Barcelona and Real Madrid, like Spain in general, run the whole world, and but then I think these people focusing too much on people with most trophies. I don't know. I think like what? I mean, like, they focusing too much on people with trophies. Ramos, I mean, like, what? Ramos, seriously, you can't find better defenders over the last 10 years who've been more consistent than Ramos. Like, this guy won trophies, yes. This guy come clutch, yes. Ramos, what? Is there no one else to rival Ramos? Like,
Cup winner, and quite possibly one of the best centre-backs ever.
He's just a
no.
winner. That's
Ramos is
always
not one of the
typified
best
him.
centre backs ever. Oh my God, no. Oh my
I
God,
think
no.
he would instantly improve any team. Obviously, with him being the best defender in the world, in
No,
my
no,
opinion,
no.
he would do that anyway. But
Ramos
just
best
the
defender of all
mentality
time.
he would bring to the rest of the squad would
What the fuck?
you level teams up 2, 3, 4 levels rather than just getting that one single player. I think he would make everyone better. He knows how to win.
The thing is with Ramos, is you look back over those Real Madrid teams, and a lot of people have a difficulty characterising why these Real Madrid teams, particularly under Zinedine Zidane, why were they great? They didn't have a great identifiable style of play the same way that Pep Guardiola's Barcelona team did, for example. They just always seemed to win the Champions League after somewhat of an average campaign. But there's two massive reasons why they got those Champions Leagues. It's because of Cristiano Ronaldo at one end and Sergio Ramos at the other. Because when the chips were down and they needed those big moments to nod a ball away to get a block in or even score a goal like he did in the Champions League final against Atletico Madrid. Sergio Ramos is just one of those personalities that always stands up. For me, Sergio Ramos, not only the best defender of the last 10 years, but for me, probably the best defender of all time. As I said already.
Agree with you.
No. I think what you see with Ramos is, if you look at the current Liverpool team, where someone like Virgil van Dijk has lifted that defence from being average, where all of a sudden they all look world class. Sergio Ramos has been doing that for 10 years at Madrid, which is unheard of, really.
I tell you what, though, there's an awful lot of potential names for that other other partnership with Sergio Ramos
of all
there.
time.
I'm going to say a few names: Terry, PK.
I really struggled here.
There's
so
Atletico
I'm willing
defenders.
to be
There's Juventus
influenced by either of these two fine gentlemen.
What we're going to do first then is say no to John Terry.
Yes.
Absolutely no question.
Had his good
What?
years earlier in the decade.
Atletico
and
defenders, yeah.
just for me,
What
hasn't
about
done
Atletico
enough throughout
defense?
the decade
They had the
to
best
even be in
defense
contention
over the
for this.
past. I mean, their defense was
For me,
like
I had 5 names on the list for centre back. Sergio
from
Ramos
since
was one.
2014
I'll
to
give
now.
you the other
Atletico
4.
have one of the best defense
The
in
other
the world.
4 were
From
Gerard Piqué,
2014 to
João
16,
Boateng,
they were one of the
Rafael
they're the best
Varane,
defensive team in
and
the
finally
fucking
Virgil
world.
van
What
Dijk.
do you what?
So, if there's any more
What?
defenders, throw them in
Look.
the mix now. Otherwise, maybe we can discuss
No
which
Godin.
of these 4.
Company?
Again, big trophies.
But then Virgil van Dijk, has he done it across the decade? Say company has say.
Well, no, but we can't punish him for
Can I
being
get
younger
quiet?
than the rest, can we?
But then
But we are punishing the others for being older than the rest, so Van Dijk's off the table as well.
And we took Kimmich out because he's only
fine.
done it for 5 years.
Right, take Van Dijk out. I do think that's harsh. I think he deserves a bit more of a...
What?
He's had his mention, which
Do you think he's
which
done
says a
enough?
lot about the
Do you
levels.
think he's done enough yet to be spoken
Well, he's
about?
the peak centre back in the world right now.
Yeah.
right, so he's done a
The
year.
thing, he's the best centre back in the world right now, but he's been at that level for 12, 18 months.
Would Liverpool be Liverpool without him? I don't think so. I don't think so.
But like we just said, someone like Sergio Ramos has been doing that for 10 years.
Right. Okay.
Has PK maybe been doing it
Why
for 10
not?
years as well? Has Chiellini been doing it for 10 years? Bonucci?
Relax, man, relax.
2 more names.
Okay. Yeah. The other ones on my list then, like I said, were Rafael Varane, who I think is definitely merits consideration. Not only has he been part of the Champions League winning teams with Real Madrid, but he completed that rare double last year as well, winning the Champions League and the World Cup in the one season.
When we're picking this second centre half, are we looking for what would be the best partnership?
Like I said, were
But he's been at that.
trophies.
But then Virgil van Dijk, has he done it across the decade? Say company has say.
Well, no, but we can't punish him for being younger than the rest, can we?
But then
But we are punishing the others for being older than the rest, so Van Dijk's off the table as well.
And we took Kimmich out because he's only
fine.
done it for 5 years.
Right, take Van Dijk out. I do think that's harsh. I think he deserves a bit more of a...
He's had his mention, which
Do you think he's
which
done
says
enough?
a lot about the levels.
I think he's done enough yet to be spoken
Well, he's
about.
the peak centre back in the world right now.
Yeah.
right, so he's done a
The
year.
thing, he's the best centre back in the world right now, but he's been at that level for 12,
And
18 months.
Would Liverpool be Liverpool without him? I don't think so. I don't think so.
But like we just said, someone like Sergio Ramos has been doing that for 10 years.
Right. Okay.
Has PK maybe been doing it for 10 years as well? Has
even longer.
Chiellini been doing it for 10 years?
Yeah.
Bonucci?
2 more names.
Okay. Yeah. The other ones on my list then, like I said, were Rafael Varane, who I think is definitely merits consideration. Not only has he been part of the Champions League winning teams with Real Madrid, but he completed that rare double last year as well, winning the Champions League and the World Cup in the one season.
When we're picking this second centre half, are we looking for what would be the best partnership with Ramos, or are we just wanting to pick the best player here?
Best player.
The best players can play together.
Yeah, of course.
We can't vouch for how these humans interact, I don't think. I think we've just got to pick it on.
And we know PK and Ramos can play together.
So what are
you're
we
saying
saying? It
PK
might be
then?
You
PK
gonna
then.
man come in?
I'd be leaning more towards Varane. I think PK has.
You have a room.
I
Why
thought he
you
was
sitting
on the
here,
decline
man?
for a few years.
Because quiet,
and last year
No.
resurged
Relax,
again and
relax.
was exceptional.
Just go
And
out.
I'm worried that's clouding my vision for thinking he's worthy
Come on,
of
just
being
now.
called
I
the
gotta
best
let you go.
defender.
No.
I got
Whatever.
you,
Well, look, he's won the
Let's
titles
go,
at international
I got
level
you,
the same
I
way
got
that
you.
Ramos did, and has been
No.
as fundamental part of the team for Spain as
Why-
Ramos was.
I will let
And
go.
also he's got those Champions League titles, including a treble with Barcelona. So I don't think he can be discarded as a candidate so quickly.
I'm happy to go with Varane.
Come
I'll be
on.
honest, he wasn't
I got
top
it,
of my
okay.
list.
Why?
Because to me, it still feels like Varane's only been around for 2-3 years.
So how about your
Because he
room,
just
man?
seems so young still, especially compared to
quiet.
the more experienced names we've
What do
been
you mean it's
discussing.
quiet?
So the back sorted.
Yeah.
We now move on to the
Nothing.
more attacking,
Why
creative
you
parts
come
of
in my
the
room?
parts of the formation.
Well, the formation we're playing 4-3-3, aren't we?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
on.
I think we're going to play 4-3-3. That has been the formation of the decade.
Come on, man.
So I supposed to go outside now or something?
Yeah, yes. Let's go, man. It's my room.
Why use it? It's quiet.
Yeah, it's my room. It's my room. It's living here. It's like everything I
As it were, there's been variations of that have won certain trophies, but when push comes to shove, I think from the start of the decade, it's been 3 midfielders, 3 attackers. That's the way we think of a team being set up in this decade. So I think we should.
And then your midfielders aren't necessarily right, middle, left. There's one destroyer and 2 more creative.
Mobile.
The destroyer that you're putting in the middle there?
Well, let's start with him. And I
The
think
destroyer.
this is going to be a popular selection as well. For me, I'll let you two discuss it. I'm just going to put the name out there. It's going to be Sergio Busquets.
Busquets.
It is.
I wasn't
going to be
expecting you to
Sergio
say
Busquets.
Sergio Busquets.
Kante.
Why?
Why? I don't know. I just was
It's
expecting you to say
been
N'Golo Kante.
the best player in his position for the past 10 years. N'Golo Kante is a phenomenal player. Love him.
But we're not finished yet. We're not
Hold
finished
your
yet.
horses, Jack.
And Kante, for me, I think this is his 5th season at the highest level. Again, goes back to the whole debate. So we want a team of the decade, not a team of the half decade.
But can I say for this position, he's not a defensive midfield player. When he burst in at Leicester, he played in a partnership. Okay, now it was Danny Drinkwater that sat. When he played for Chelsea, he played in a partnership, and it was Cesc Fabregas or Nemanja Matic that sat.
Yep.
Okay, he's not a defensive midfielder at the base of midfield. That's not where he
Casemiro.
plays. If we're going to put Kante
No.
into the team, I think he's going to occupy one of
mean-
the other slots in midfield.
I agree.
What the
In
problem
that
with
regard,
destroyers? I don't
there's
know.
2 other players who would have in consideration there. One who had a late career renaissance in Andre Pirlo, and the other one is, of course, we have to come back to that Champions League winning team for Real Madrid. And this man also won the Copa America, finally got his hands on that for Brazil, Casemiro.
Yeah, I think you can
Casemiro.
call them
No, I don't
candidates,
think
but
Casemiro.
they're not really.
So we're going with Sergio Busquets, centre mid.
See,
Okay.
Yep.
Busquets.
Let's go left now. Go on, Steph.
David Silva. 10 years of excellence at Manchester City, a team that are quite possibly transforming the game. 4 Premier League trophies, won the World Cup with Spain, again the Euros. For me, a player of rare consistency, always delivers, even in difficult times. I mean, we all know about his personal situation. Was that last season or the season before? And you never even saw that on the pitch. So for me,
No Iniesta.
he's a definite.
No Iniesta.
And for me, somehow, despite being the age he is and as decorated he is with so many trophies, he still gets underrated. David Silva, you know, he's been a key part for club and country over the course of this decade. And, you know, when it comes to that mix of combativeness and creativity and a player of his relative slight stature to come and make an impression like he has over the course of the decade of the Premier League, I think has been nothing short of spectacular. 4 Premier League titles, as Steph said, every other domestic honour in the game, and the one thing really missing from his CV is the Champions League. So let's hope for his sake, before he leaves at the end of this season, that Manchester City can pick one up and give him what he deserves. For me, no doubt about it, David Silva's in this team.
I completely disagree.
Oh, goody. Yes. Go on, tell them why you
I
disagree,
think
Steph.
he's been the Premier League player of the
Jesus Christ. I mean, these people are not naming people, man. What about Iniesta? I don't know all it. I mean, there's like a bunch of other like. I mean, I watched football for like the whole decade, but like, Iniesta, there's Xavi. I don't know who you could put that. I mean, Kroos. I mean, Atletico midfielders. I mean, I don't think you put Atletico midfielders inside of there. I think about like fuck. Who you could put inside that midfielder, boy? Shit, Me ain't too sure on boy. Like,
Decades. I think he's been wonderful in the Premier League, but he's not been the best player, in my opinion, in the world. I think Iniesta would
finally,
put ahead of
somebody
him.
said Iniesta.
I think Iniesta has won everything, obviously, with Spain. He's won. He was part of the Barcelona team that has been the team of forever, the team forever. So I think that Barcelona team would destroy the Man City team at the moment because they were seemingly untouchable. They brought a whole new style of football into it, and Iniesta was as pivotal to that as Messi and Xavi. So I would have to have Iniesta over David Silva, and he's won the Champions League.
Are we going to say...
I'm not a big fan of Iniesta.
What?
Interesting.
He scored against the Dutch.
Scored against the Dutch.
That's obviously that tiny thing, but for me,
Supposed to be
I
impartial.
think they're slightly different players as well, to be honest. Iniesta and Silva, well, Iniesta is slightly higher up the pitch. And for me, that's a position where you expect goals and assists. And
He gives neither, really.
I think if we're going to look at Iniesta's goals, you can probably count them on two hands here. So
It's a difficult sentence to say, though, that you would put that, just for me to think it out loud, that you say David Silva definitely better than Iniesta.
I can't see how you can justify that if you say exactly as Jason. If you say that out loud, do you not feel a little silly?
No.
Silva
I don't
better than
at all.
Iniesta?
No.
Is this guy serious?
Are
you serious?
It's 2-1, but I would
Oh
like
my
the record
god.
to state
Okay.
That you...
Iniesta is a far better player than David Silva. And is that
You
the
put
one
it-
player you would have in that,
You put
that
the Silva
role?
Yeah, I
on
want him
over
there, yeah.
Iniesta.
I want David Silva there.
Over Modric?
Well, we'll come to the other midfield.
Let's get
okay,
both
so let's say
Varane.
that Silva's in. He's lost the Iniesta.
So we're going to rest him there for a minute.
How about Tony Cruz?
Oh my
We're coming. That's the other midfielder we're coming to. We're coming there.
Are we saying that both those players are on the
We've got
right-hand side?
Busquets.
No, hang on.
They're not. No, we're not looking for a right midfielder, as in like an old school David Beckham style player. We're looking for three midfielders. We've got two of them. We've got Busquets and we've got David Silva.
But you're still saying David Silva by his inclusion.
Why don't they have him? They have a attacker and midfielder. They have to have it's a 3-man midfield, attacker and midfielder, DM. They have to have a attacker and midfielder, and they have to have a central midfielder, someone to control the game. Modric is the best controlling midfielder in the world. I don't know, man. I think it's like you have to be like Modric. I don't know. Fuck, I think like who Bayern had again? Like I forget what. You could buy a midfielder. I don't know about Juventus midfielder. Can be a Juventus midfielder. I don't know, man.
It's better than Modric.
No, they're coming.
Cruz,
They can be in the same
Xavi,
team.
Iniesta.
They can come in the
How
same
can they be
team.
in the same team when we've got one midfield spot left?
Right. So the other because we have to talk about who's in the other midfield spot. Okay. So the candidates that I had for there. That's where I had N'Golo Kante as a candidate. Is the other midfield position. Okay. So
Wow, so you're leaving 4? Wow, okay.
So I had N'Golo Kante. Iniesta was on my list as well. Xavi Hernandez, Bastian Schweinsteiger,
Right.
Yes,
Toni
fine.
Kroos,
Toni Kroos.
Luka Modric, and my wildcard entry was James Milner. But he's not going to get picked, but I just wanted to put it out there.
wanted to
that I
say
think
those words
James
out loud.
Milner had a great decade in football, crowned by the Champions League
Fair
title.
play to him.
and he's pretty much a neighbour, isn't he?
He's my neighbour as well, yeah.
Okay.
So which one of those?
Well, it's not going to
Chelsea
be... Yeah,
midfielder.
we have to pick one of those. So we've got Xavi and
Yeah,
Iniesta.
we can pick 2 because
Can't
we
you
can
have
leave
your
David
cake and
Silva
eat it
out.
and have Iniesta and Silva? If we're gonna say with that all in the
Silva's a
same
lock
position.
for me. He's a lock.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying in that case, could you potentially say that Iniesta trumps the rest of the names you just mentioned?
We could potentially say that, but that's not going to happen because we've got someone else for that position.
Yeah, I know who I want in that
I
position.
feel like there's been some subterfuge and plotting beforehand.
I know who I want in that position, the other position.
Who would you like in that position?
I think the outstanding candidate for that position is Toni Kroos.
Above Luka Modric.
Yes. Yes.
Kante?
Just about above Kante.
And would you have Silva? Well, obviously you've chosen Silva over Kante. I just can't believe you've made that decision.
But that decision's been made. I think we need to move on and make that final decision.
Yeah, so the final decision.
So
Hang on a minute. You mean in terms of who the third?
The third
Third
midfielder.
midfield.
Right.
Do we want to go with Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, or If you want Iniesta,
Why would you pick
gonna say
Modric, Kroos over Iniesta?
Okay, because he's been better for a longer time. I think he's younger better for a longer time as well. So he's younger. Probably took Modric a longer time to get to his best level, and he didn't last as long at that level. Yeah. Whereas Toni Kroos has been so consistent from the minute that he emerged when he was on loan, I think, at Bayer Leverkusen, and then established himself as a key player at Bayern Munich, winning the Champions League, then winning the World Cup, and then going winning what he's won at Real Madrid. Again, another one of these type of Sergio Ramos characters.
I agree.
What's his motivations when he's won so much? Absolutely phenomenal player.
I agree. I think his motivation seems to be waning at the moment. I think he's potentially on the he's reached the peak of his career. I think he's been better than Modric. I think he's a better player. And I think I'd be if I was allowed to choose, I would be choosing Silva and Iniesta.
so you do want Silva then? I think we.
Iniesta and Kroos.
I'd be having Iniesta and Kroos.
Okay, so Kroos is in the team.
Yeah,
It's
because
Kroos
for me
and Xavi.
it's
It's Kroos.
Kroos,
It's Kroos,
Modric.
not Xavi. I don't know.
I could pick both of them. I could
I mean,
pick
Xavi
Kroos today and
was
Tomosa. No, Modric.
2016 or something.
Because for me, they're both at that same level.
2015?
And
I mean,
like I said,
Xavi retired 2016.
Kroos has that World Cup, Champions League with two teams.
Modric winning the Ballon d'Or last year, I think, was more of a legacy award. I think it was an award because Ronaldo
And
at
also
Real
what he
Madrid.
did in Russia as well. Though,
Well,
maybe.
Ronaldo
Taking Croatia as far as he did.
because Ronaldo at Real Madrid had won so many individual honours, it left no space for anybody else to be rewarded. And you had a player who's consistent as Luka Modric within that team, and he just never had a chance to
It was like
win an
Ryan Giggs
individual
winning the
trophy.
PFA award, wasn't
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a legacy honour.
So we're saying he's not talking his way into this midfield.
I don't think so. He spent too long at Spurs.
So we're saying
Busquets,
Busquets.
Silva,
No.
Cruz.
still not happy with the Silva selection.
But we can't all be happy. We need to have.
It's votes. Once it goes 2-1, that's it. I'm sorry.
This team is
Jake,
just-
out of interest. What do you think?
Personally, I would say Iniesta.
He doesn't have a vote though, so
I
I'm
don't have
lucky.
a vote, unfortunately.
And there's a reason why he doesn't have a vote, and that he then still agrees with
I
you.
was
Should be
thinking
assigned to
Iniesta
you as well, really.
Yeah.
You'll get it back up front, don't worry.
So
I'm sure.
this is. I will make my peace with it. I think if I was picking a team to win, to be a team that I'd put out, I would have Kante in there, just to destroy that midfield and get it into.
But that's for just
Kroos or
one
Iniesta.
game. You want a team
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
destroyed
I don't
people for
think
10
he's
years.
been the best player for the decade, but for any team to go and win that in immediate
I
match,
would,
I'd have
I
him
would
there.
love N'Golo Kante to have won a Champions League by now, because that would probably separate him from some of the other candidates, or at least put him on par with some of the other candidates for the midfield in this team. I love N'Golo Kante. I think he's brilliant.
He's won everything he can for the last 5 years.
I know, not the Champions League though.
Does winning the Premier League with Leicester not kind of count as a Champions League? Is that not
Yeah, it's
on
huge.
the par?
It's huge, and to win the Premier League for two different teams, one season after another, I think is again a phenomenal achievement. You know, and when you think about where he came from, okay, so he wins the title at Leicester, wins the title at Chelsea, then goes and wins the World Cup. I mean,
And you just had to see what happened to Leicester
2015, 2016.
the season after they won the league, how dramatic their downturn was. I think a lot of that is down to Kante leaving.
But we've only got space for three midfielders. I'm sorry, N'Golo.
Alas. Okay, so sort of happy with our midfield, aren't we?
I think we
We
are.
will tolerate
It's
it.
2-1. It's 2-1. I'm sorry.
Tolerate it.
Okay, so we'll move on to the funnest bit, obviously.
Yeah.
The front three.
Nice.
Where should we start? I mean, to be
We just
fair,
put Messi, Ronaldo out of the way.
Well, that's it. The thing is, there's no disputing that it's Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. And if we're putting them in this formation, I'd like to put Messi sort of from the right, where he likes to come in and do his damage on the left foot, and I'd like to put what?
I'm just Steph's going. If you put Messi on the right, I can't have Robin.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
that's pretty much. It's like, how
And
about
I'd like
we
to-
move Messi to the middle, and then who's the best right winger of the past?
Gareth Bale.
But yeah, let's be honest. Messi on the right, Ronaldo on the left.
Ronaldo on the left. There's just no dispute, and we don't need to sit.
Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale. Now we take out Messi and Ronaldo out of this debate. Let's see. After this, guys, the other person behind Ronaldo would have been Neymar. Easily would have been Neymar. It's like, dude, Neymar is what like Neymar come twice for Ballon d'Or voting. He's the most gifted dribbler. He don't win everything already except the World Cup. He win the Copa. I don't know if he win the Copa. I wonder if he win did Neymar ever win the Copa America? I don't know. But like outside Messi, like What is a Gareth Bale? Are you fucking crazy? No. Bale? It have to be the Bayern wingers. I think it's the Bayern wingers. Also, I'm not sure now gonna be the Bayern wingers. It could be Robin. It could be Robin and Ribery. It can't be Coman, no. It can't be Costa. I mean, most of the wingers in them is shit, you know. It can't be Salah either because I mean, somebody put Salah in their list. I can't remember whose list, but somebody put Salah. It can't be Salah. I mean, Salah pretty good, but it can't be Salah. Salah only win Champions League. I mean, he had one phenomenal season. He had two at high levels, but like Salah two high levels is just basic numbers for Ronaldo and Messi, so it can't be Salah either.
Sit here and list all their achievements. Okay, this team is Messi, Ronaldo plus another 9.
Is there an argument to say that he could be in the centre though, Ronaldo?
No.
But there's an argument for both of them to be in the centre because they've demonstrated over the last few years how versatile they are. Messi has gone into the centre, he's gone up front, he's gone into number 10, he's gone up front, he's gone right side. He can play anywhere in those attacking positions. He can do damage from anywhere. And
Whereas the natural position would have Messi coming in from the right, Ronaldo coming in from the left, which leaves space for a number 9.
Which we use a centre forward at that.
That is a contentious one because like the names I'm already thinking of: Luis Suarez, Lewandowski. I mean, there's probably 20 more.
Let me give you my contenders for that position, okay? First of all, I'll tell you some of the wingers that we discarded because they're just simply not at Messi and Ronaldo's level.
Okay.
On my list, I had Arjen Robben, I had Thomas Muller, Neymar, Mohamed Salah, and Kylian
What?
Mbappe.
The only person good to that list is Neymar. Like Neymar from Santos and then Neymar at the rest. And then Neymar John Barcelona 2020. It has to be Neymar. Neymar is the second person behind it. It's Neymar. This is the only person behind Ronaldo and that's it. Mbappe only had like what 4 seasons? 2017. You can't put Mbappe on the list. Salah, the same thing with Salah. I mean, I thought it's 10 years, man. These people are like 4 years. They have 7 plus, and then plus all the time at Santos where he's smashing the league.
Now, again, maybe in the
Hazard as well.
Oh, Hazard.
It's not one out of significance for me. Maybe in the next few years we might see these players.
You put in Mbappe and I put in Hazard.
Emerge and find their way onto a list for the next decade. But right now,
Mbappe's going to be there for the next decade.
Exactly, they're just not going to displace Messi and Ronaldo right now.
We knew that before we started that was going to be the case, didn't we? Okay, so
The strikers.
the strikers.
This is really fun. Okay, so you did mention Luis Suarez and Robert Lewandowski. We'll come on to the case for that because I think there's one of those two that will probably end up in the team thanks to these two. The other candidates that I had in that position were Sergio Aguero,
Yes,
Edinson
definitely.
Cavani,
No.
Definitely not.
David Villa,
No.
Antoine Griezmann, and this is my selection for this position in the team.
This is the one you're choosing.
He say Cavani. Oh my God, Cavani. This is one for Cavani. What? Dude, Ibrahim deserves more chance on this than Cavani. No. Shit, it's like, I think like, Messi Ronaldo is so far ahead of everybody else that it doesn't make sense to put anybody else on the list. There's no striker on the level. The best striker on the last decade, let me know back. That's Suarez from them time. That Suarez is the Liverpool best striker from that. Like, Gary Firmino isn't scoring enough goals. It can't be Benzema either. Benzema really good enough, but it can't be Benzema either. He had high points, but that's not high enough. It has to be Lewandowski. Because Suarez even before, like I don't remember Suarez did at Ajax, but or before that, but like Lewandowski didn't been Dortmund to win leagues. You know? Lewandowski been since 2010 up to now. This man, if Lewandowski, it has to be Lewandowski. Lewandowski is the best number 9 in the past decade. It has to be Lewandowski. there's no Premier League like Aguero. It could be Aguero. It have to be Aguero because Chelsea had no. Chelsea never had like a one of the strongest strikers. Neither Man United either. I mean, Wayne Rooney, Rashford. No, none of them did. Chelsea, no Arsenal, no Juventus. I mean, like Carlos Tevez, no. Mandzukic, Griezmann. Griezmann stretching it. I mean, like Griezmann didn't even put number 9. It's like who been playing Griezmann all the time? It was Costa and then Torres. Griezmann is after number 9, so it can't be Griezmann.
This is the one I'd like to choose. I know I'm going to get outvoted there.
Are you still building up to it?
Yeah.
I think
no,
it's the
One
drum
of the
roll.
ones we've already listed.
Mario Mandzukic.
What?
Why?
Hear me out.
We're waiting.
Hang on.
Okay.
I'm just going to get onto the edge of my seat for this one.
Okay. First of all, he's won the Champions League, okay, so that buys him the license to get into this team in the first place, wins it with Bayern in 2013. Then he goes and excels at Juventus after that, reaches the Champions League final with them, wins titles in Italy.
Does he excel, though?
Then he carries Croatia to the Champions League final, thanks to his goals against England in the World Cup.
Was he doing that on his own?
In the World Cup semi-final.
But was he doing that on his own? It
For me,
wasn't really just him.
he is the most underrated forward in the last 10 years, and maybe even the history of football. Mario Mandzukic has my vote as centre forward in the team of the decade.
You're picking your centre forward, who's I think for like the last 4 or 5 years he's not scored more than 14 goals.
And this isn't the underrated 11. This is the best 11.
I know, and I would have him there.
You would have him above all those other names, above Aguero,
Okay, so now
Suarez.
we've got
Mandzukic
that out of the way. Let's talk
Lewandowski.
about it.
I know he's not getting in, so now let them reach their
Should we
conclusion.
have a grown-up conversation now?
I'm just going to say Lewandowski, 300 plus goals at club level over the past decade.
Lewandowski, what the hell?
No Champions League. Out of the group stage of all the international tournaments he's been to.
So who does that leave then? If we're saying that
No, let's
Champions
talk
League
about
is a
Lewandowski. I'm
prerequisite.
saying he's a really good striker in the Bundesliga, the same way someone like Roy Mackay was. But when it comes to winning things of significance, he's not been there at the big moments. He's just not been there.
I think when you compare him to Aguero, Aguero has been probably the best striker in the Premier League for this decade. But he's not scored the amount of goals that Lewandowski has. He's
He's not got his hands on the big cups either.
certainly not. And he's right.
Now think about this, like, okay, Lewandowski shit internationally. I think people know this already. Internationally, Lewandowski shit. Poland never do shit in anything. Lewandowski don't tear it up in Champions League, so he shit either. Aguero just set up in Champions League, but Man City never do anything. I mean, like, Man City never do anything in Champions League. I mean, that's crazy to me. Like, thinking about it, like, Man City never do shit in Champions League. Mandzukic do shit in Champions League. But then Mandzukic didn't get the record of Lewandowski. It's Suarez. It have to be Suarez. Suarez does do shit for Uruguay. Suarez do shit for like Suarez been one of the best seasons ever in Liverpool. And then Champions League. I mean, like Suarez is shit now, like relatively, but also all the rest, Suarez is most complete because Aguero, Lewandowski is shit internationally. Suarez does do shit for Uruguay. Uruguay just go places. You know, they just go far in tournaments. Poland and Argentina do shit in it. But it's only because of Messi. Aguero never do shit in the... Aguero is not the man for Argentina, so...
He's been playing in a more competitive league, so I can almost forgive him the goals because, you know, Lewandowski plunders 8 against Mainz or something, then fine. But Lewandowski's just got something extra. It's especially if we've got 2 wide forwards coming in, he's got the strength, he's got the aerial ability, he's got the skill that he still can show, and he's got a ruthless finishing ability.
Yeah.
You know, is it 5 goals, 9 minutes?
Wolfsburg.
Yeah, that's better than Solskjaer. That's what kind of finisher he was.
Yeah.
Even though they're just the type of goals you've told us to disregard. Scoring 8 against.
Well, not if your
Well, I
team
think
is a goal down when you come on and you score 5 in 9 minutes.
That's pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
what's
Then
making
it's
a
a
difference. A game changer of a player. I think Suarez is absolutely merits being part of the conversation. But
Copa America as well at the start of the decade with Uruguay, which is not an easy thing to do with a population that small when you've got Brazil and Argentina on your
population
doorstep.
of 3 mil.
3 odd mil.
That's phenomenal.
Fellow Uruguayan Griezmann also on the list.
But I found Suarez moving to Barcelona. He scored 50 goals, over 50 goals in one season, but he can't be anything but a complementary player to Messi playing for Barcelona as an attacker. So
But he was
did
amazing
well,
for MSN.
but he wasn't great. I think for me it's Lewandowski. I think you can put him in any team and he will score. So yeah, it's big Louis for me.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like we said, Aguero's up there, Suarez is up there. But if you can choose between those three and think which one of those three is going to contribute the most to the team, it's Lewandowski. And on top of that, you get the goals because he's guaranteed 30 goals a season in all competitions.
Yeah, and so if Messi's having an off day and Ronaldo's having an off day, I think you can count on Lewandowski to. At least bag you a couple. Why did you even consider Griezmann?
Well, I considered Griezmann because he's been part of great teams. And I think he again, at times he's been a clutch player, especially for France in the World Cup last year, just when the time came to score free kicks or penalties or just pop up. I think he had an uncanny ability to do that.
So if football developed to having a special teams player, you think
Maybe somebody like Griezmann would be there. But also what's impressed me with Griezmann is the fact that he shone for so long under Diego Simeone, because he doesn't seem to me, on first glance, to be a Simeone-style player.
Disciplined.
Yeah, he's got that X factor Griezmann has, and I think his career is still building. I think it's building towards a Champions League win.
I will, whether it's the following decade that comes or this one, Antoine Griezmann is no way near either of them. I just don't think he's got the calibre to be classed as one of the best in the world.
I think they're all valid points that you just made, but when you are saying that you've only got one spot left, it can't be him.
No, you can't. That's why I would go for Mandzukic.
Of course you would. Of course you would. But I don't think either of you two are going to go for Mandzukic. Or has he
It's
swayed
nothing
you?
against
Has he
Robert
swayed you?
Lewandowski.
I could make 3 more teams and Mandzukic wouldn't be anywhere near.
I mean, I think Robert Lewandowski right now is the best number 9 in world football, and I think he's taken his game to a new level. He's not just a finisher. I think he can link the way he can orchestrate a front line the same way somebody like Sergio Ramos can orchestrate a back line. It's a phenomenal thing to watch when you see him in the stadium. He's an excellent player, but I think at clutch moments as well, like Cristiano Ronaldo's putting hat-tricks past Bayern Munich in the Champions League, you wonder, hey, where's Lewandowski in games like this?
I do actually seem to remember him scoring 4 against Madrid with Dortmund.
And what did Dortmund do in the final? What did Lewandowski do in the final?
Well, we were talking about, I can't remember Lewandowski doing what Ronaldo did.
We're not talking
scoring
about
hat-tricks in the Champions League, and
yeah, but Ronaldo's
surely
also
4
won the final.
counts as a hat-trick plus 1.
You have to do it in the finals as well. That's what people remember. And when people remember Robert Lewandowski in the future, they'll probably think of, he was a really good striker in the Bundesliga. But where was he?
Who
Where's
also
he been?
scored 4 against
Well, if we're
Madrid?
judging it
That's
by-
one they'll remember.
But if we're judging it by that criteria, considering that our last 2 candidates here, Aguero and Lewandowski, neither of whom have done it in finals on the Champions League level. So
That's why I want
what are we
Mandzukic
saying?
in the team.
Are you honestly saying that you take Mandzukic above Lewandowski?
Yeah. In a team of the decade, yeah.
You had
Right
a little
now,
smirk on your face then, though,
If you're
when
giving me
you
a
said
blank check right now and saying, do you want to sign Lewandowski or Mandzukic? I would say, of course, I'm signing Lewandowski. But Mandzukic's body of work
Wait,
at
geez.
big moments over the last decade stands up. It stands up.
Mandzukic is a better
I
international.
don't see either of you two
I'm not
agreeing
sold
with
on
him.
the Mandzukic
Mandzukic
stuff.
is a better.
So
Yeah.
we have. It sounds like you guys have talked yourselves round to Lewandowski.
Yeah.
And Aguero hasn't been mentioned for about 3
kind of,
minutes.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that it? Do we have a team?
I think
Do
we
have
have
We have a team.
Okay. Let's quickly recap. So we had Neuer in goal,
Yes.
Dani Alves right back, Sergio Ramos, Varane.
5.
Left back was
Marcelo.
In the middle, this is where it started to get really hairy. We had David
Busquets.
Silva.
Varane. I mean, like, what the fuck are you? No, man. Oh my my god, you have Varane in the team. Shit, man. I mean, like, you can't be fucking serious, man. I ain't shit. When I remember, when I remember all three, four Real Madrid Champions League win, I don't remember Varane. And I don't remember Pepe. Oh shit! Wait, Pepe. I was like, weird. Is Pepe shit? People forget Pepe, dog. What the fuck? You forget Pepe? Portugal win 2 trophies. Pepe been in Real Madrid since long time. Pepe. Pepe over Varane. I mean, Pepe over Varane. Shit, like what? Portugal ain't have no talent as Portugal is not Portugal is not a France. Portugal strong. Portugal was the best team in the world, obviously. Portugal is not a France team. They won the fucking Euros, man. France, when you walk up based on any defensive display, France when you walk up because of attacking and they play fucking Croatia in the final. Nah.
Yeah.
Your boy. We had Biscuits in the middle, and on the right,
Tony Cruz.
Tony Cruz. And then up front.
I mean, this video done, you know. Like and subscribe and whatever, you know. Share this video. I don't even know what these people doing, dog. Seriously, dog. I don't know.